You don't even notice the breaking point at first. It creeps in slowly. One day, you're just tired. Tired of checking your phone hoping someone remembered you. Tired of being the one who always tries. Tired of putting your needs last so others can feel comfortable. And tired of apologizing for caring too much. You sit in silence and feel the weight of it all. You realize you've been watering everyone's garden but your own, hoping they'd notice. But no one does, not really, in that moment. That ache in your chest, it doesn't scream, it whispers. A soft voice inside says, "You deserve more than this." And that voice, that's the beginning of everything. You don't even know what it means yet, but something in you shifts. You begin to question the people you keep around, the things you tolerate, and most of all, the way you've been treating yourself. You've been loyal to people who weren't even consistent. You've been breaking your own heart just to keep peace with others, but now your soul is tired, and tired isn't weak. Tired is wise. It's the moment before the change, the moment before you rise. It doesn't make noise, but you feel it. You start responding less to chaos. You stop chasing people to validate your worth. You stop being the one who always checks in, always forgives first, always fixes what you didn't break. This time you do something different. You pause. You breathe. You give yourself space. You don't post about it. You don't text about it. You just move differently, and the people around you, they feel it. Some get uncomfortable because your boundaries reveal their lack of respect. Some fall away because your growth threatens their comfort. But that doesn't matter now. What matters is how you're finally choosing yourself. You realize that being too nice was never the problem. Being unavailable to your own needs was. So now, you don't explain everything. You don't beg to be understood. You don't lower your standards just to feel loved. You rise, quietly, calmly, powerfully. You reclaim your time, your energy, your presence. And slowly, you become the kind of man who doesn't need to speak loudly to be heard. Because now, your self-respect speaks for you. This part hurts. Letting go of people you thought would be in your life forever never feels good. But when you start respecting yourself, some people start falling off. Not because you're mean, not because you're bitter, but because you're no longer easy to use. You're no longer a yes man to energy that disrespects yours. And people who once depended on your silence, they don't like your voice. People who are comfortable with the old version of you can't handle the new one, and that's okay. Because with every person you lose, you find more of yourself. You remember who you were before you needed their approval. You reconnect with the man who had dreams, standards, peace. It's lonely sometimes, you miss them, but you don't miss the version of yourself that had to shrink to keep them. So you trade being liked for being free, and that trade, it's worth everything. You walk away not to prove a point, but to prove that your heart no longer lives in someone else's hands. And for the first time in a long time, you feel powerful again. You begin to live differently. You stop entertaining half-hearted energy. You no longer romanticize people who make you feel small. You raise your standards, not to be difficult, but to honor your growth. You realize that peace is more valuable than attention, that respect feels better than romance, and that clarity is more healing than closure. So you start saying no. No to inconsistent effort. No to empty promises. No to temporary love. You're not bitter. You're just no longer begging. You know what you bring to the table. You're not afraid to eat alone, and slowly the world responds. The right people show up. Not because you chase them, but because you created space for them. You attract people who value your time, mirror your effort, and match your energy. And suddenly, love doesn't feel like proving yourself anymore. It feels like peace. You stop explaining your worth. You start living it. And in that decision, your life begins to rebuild itself. Aligned, intentional, solid. You didn't just raise your standards. You remembered who you are. Something changes in your presence. You don't have to say much now. People feel you. You walk into a room and don't need to prove anything. You speak with calm. You move with purpose. You've become a man grounded in who he is, not who others want him to be. You no longer overthink. You observe. You no longer beg. You bless and release. The woman who left you. She feels your absence in ways your presence never could, not because you wanted to hurt her, but because your healing made you whole. You no longer text paragraphs explaining your heart. You simply stop reaching out. You no longer chase validation. You live in truth. And that truth is this: the man who respects himself is unforgettable, not because he tried to be, but because his silence, his peace, his clarity left echoes behind. You're no longer at war with yourself. You're no longer lost in confusion. You've become steady. You've become rare. And the most beautiful part, you did it without revenge, without games, without noise. You did it through self-respect. And from here forward, everything changes.